What's up, y'all? It's Shuffle, and we're coming back to a series that I haven't done for a while. It's called Team of the Week, since I like talking about teams in Darkest Dungeons. So this is a series I was doing a while back, where I just pick teams that really get the brain moving in terms of thinking of ideas and stuff like that. Not that Jestal's a huge, wrinkly brain idea, but I digress. This is something I wanted to come back to. People have asked about it, so we're going to come back to it, at least for a little bit. And this Team of the Week video is going to be a Jestal team. I actually don't have one of these on record, but it's also a bleed team. So I'm just going like massive bleeds. And that's what we're going to do. So for the builds and stuff, this is pretty standard stock Vestal. This is a champion dungeon in the Warrens. And we're going to run the Crimson Court set. I usually don't run this together, but it is nice to get the extra 35% stun chance. That's pretty high. And also this Vestal has Beast Slayer, so she shouldn't have too much trouble hitting a lot of the stuff in here. Jester, I don't usually run double bleed either, so I'm, showing that off to see if it's really as good or as bad as I think. And this Jester has bleed chance, and then speed from Feather Crystal, and then a bunch of pretty good quirks. So there's that. And then Flagellant's pretty flexible. He has Zoophobia, but it shouldn't matter too much. He can, blast half his stress off with one skill. And we're going with a more damage-oriented Flagellant, and then we're going with Reclaim. So in case someone hits Death's Door with a bleed on them, which, can happen. So if that happens, then this will keep them alive through the bleed because the heal calculates first and the dot damage comes second. Redeem is a bit overkill because we have Vestal. And then for trinkets, we're running Flesh Heart just because there's a lot of bleeds in here. And if we do have to reclaim, then we can use that. And then Focus Range is really good on this character. Surgical Gloves are a good second choice. He has a disease too that we can camp off. That's the other reason I'm taking him. And then for Hellion, this is a pretty standard bleed loadout. We have Bleed Out instead of Wicked Hack. Bleed Out does a ton of damage. If it bleeds, it's going to cover our mid-range options, and then Iron Swan's going to cover the back. And I'm going like just tricked out damage, accuracy, speed, bleed chance Hellion. And so I want to see how this does. The chance of missing and taking damage from Thirsting Blade shouldn't matter because of Jester and Bellin. So because of one of the districts that I have, the mill, it's the last one you build from Farmstead. Hunger checks no longer occur to the characters, but if I was going to be running this normally, I would bring 2 stacks of food. That's how I would do it. 3 stacks of torches to like drop it for loot and stuff like that. And then 3 shovels should cover it. Same with the keys. We have herbs for barrels, and we can get extra food if we need to, and then bandages are pretty helpful as well. And then this is also loot, potentially. See how it does. I think last time I came to the ruins, I had someone hit Death's Door via spiders, so really kind of put it in my face
down there in the dark
that can still happen.
slay them even faster.
I think you still have regular combat speed on. We'll see. I hope I do. I might not. If I don't, then I'll make a cut and I'll come back and turn it off. This looks like regular combat speed. Yeah, it is. Okay. It feels much slower than it used to be. Than I'm used to. Alright, this is probably the worst case scenario because we have lower blight resist because of this trinket, but it's alright. Our whole team goes first here, so we might be able to kill this. I think we're one off. No, we got it, exactly. Good. Okay. Now, this is the primary reason we have giant stun chances for stuff like this. Should be much easier to keep this thing locked down. We're gonna kill this worm second. That should be enough there. It's 2 off, okay. So we're actually gonna use Harvest. This is where Harvest is good. When you have to like finish something off and then do damage to the other one, that's Harvest. And then here, in case we're playing around a very fringe scenario. And that scenario is if this thing decides to use Tentacle Devour and hit Jester and crit him without a mark, I'm pretty sure it's gonna put him to Death's Door. I think it does 27. So this is to prevent that dying from damage over time. We'll see. I could heal with Vestal. I'm going to try and stun lock it again. I got a 35% chance. Can get it.
Great is the weapon.
Alright, see what happens.
On its own.
Oh. Yeah. The debuff though. Minus crit, that sucks. Alright, bleed out time. So this is why bleed out's so good. Hellion can rip through this in like 2 turns. Just because she's going to get bonus damage and, let's see. Slice off. She'll get bonus damage, and if she crits, she's gonna ramp her damage even harder. So we're gonna try and stun it again. This is better to stun it than take the potentially 27 damage hit that it has. Now we might just stall for Hellion to kill it next turn. Yeah, I think so. Alright, this is a big brain play. We're going to use Battle Ballad in case a fight respawns in the hallway outside, because that buff lasts for 3 turns. We'll group heal. We're just going to heal off and then have Hellion kill it. Alright. And then if I was trying to play... This is to play like maximally efficient, where if I needed the loot, I would snuff here. Get all the stuff. I wouldn't take the citrines. I actually wouldn't take the onyx either. We're gonna open the chest. Take whatever heirlooms we need. Let's just assume we need money, right? Everyone needs money in this game. The portraits are a little more worthwhile than the crest, but this is all still fun. Depends what you need. Secret room. So we're leaving our torch off to loot this as well. So whenever you snuff your torch, you really want to make sure you get like maximum efficiency. I don't need the food. Take the money. As far as citrines go, they're never worth the gold stack. That's why we don't take them. Unless you have nothing else to fill your inventory with. Alright. So in case this is Shambler, we're going to torch back up. Because if you're torchless, Shambler has a chance of being a hallway fight, so we don't want that. This team would kind of struggle against Shambler, just because like Jestal just doesn't do that well in that fight. For whatever reason. Actually, not for whatever reason. Like, you get moved around and stuff like that, and Jestal can't handle that too well. My whole team went first, so there's a consideration. I could use Slice Off here. And killed it. But this is fine. This Flesh Heart's gonna be really good against these guys. They don't bleed us through the Mark synergy. We'll stun. Use it if it bleeds next turn. The trick to bleed out as well, as good as bleed out is, you don't want to use it right away. You want bleed out to be the last thing you're doing in a fight. So we'll stun this guy and he's just dead. So he'll bleed out over 2 turns. So since this one's dead, she's dead, we can bleed out now and erase this guy. This is literally Fists of the North Star. They are already dead. So now we get to stall for another turn. The gear definitely helps for sure. But, you know, you still have to play well with it. I guess I don't want to bleed out. I don't want to pass either, so I'm going to yell at him. Win myself for another turn. We can do something cheeky here. We can cast Reclaim on her, so it has a chance to crit heal, like each tick. And if it crit heals, then it'll cure some stress. You know, just little min-maxing things. Stuff that usually just doesn't matter to your gameplay, but it's still helpful to know in case you really want to squeeze out every advantage. Alright, so you don't have to snuff for these usually. They're worth like twice a gold stack. And I usually toss my keys after I get the thing. So this is... You probably toss torches instead if you wanted to, but it doesn't matter for this file.
The way is lit. The path is clear. We require only the strength to follow it.
Alright, let's see. Ooh, Bone Pillar. This is our camp room. Since this buff lasts until camp, we're going to camp in here and get buffed up and then take this afterwards. And then we'll have that damage buff for the rest of the dungeon. We're giving it to Hellion. This match is interesting because they're both kind of tanky, so it's like, who do you kill first? Usually it's Worm. Bring one that way. And so this is what I was talking about. Hellion's crit buff that she gets, so whenever you crit someone, I'm pretty sure all characters, if you crit on an attack, they get a special buff for themselves for like 2 turns, 1 or 2 turns, and it depends who it is. But Hellion's is she gets damage against bleeding targets. This is why bleed out spam is really good. So even though bleed out has this damage penalty of minus 20%, it already has a plus 20 on top, so it's damage neutral. And also, actually it's plus damage on the first hit, then it's damage neutral on the second hit. And if you crit, it's going to ramp hard enough to where you barely notice the damage loss at all, and then you get this, you know, big bleed on top of it. Plus it has a 10 crit modifier, so that's why it's really strong. And we're going to Yeah, we're gonna work on this guy. I think I don't want to get charged by the pig lance. Okay. Flesh Eater actually playing fair this time. Usually just spams Devour without the mark, and he can't do anything to that. That should be a stun. Yeah. So I don't want this dude to cleave my whole team. We're gonna do that, and then more harvest value. Look at this dude. Harvest doing things. Been playing too much Darkest Dungeon 2, I think. Alright, I know I said bleed out's like the last thing you want to do. And usually it is. But this dude has a lot of prot too. So our bleed damage is more important than our dot damage, or our direct damage. And there's like a 10% chance to stun. I guess I tried anyway, because I don't really have anything better to do this turn.
As the light gains purchase, spirits are
Take it.
lifted.
We want to make sure it dies to bleed so it doesn't leave a corpse so this thing can't charge us. Now it's in a very vulnerable position compared to where it normally is.
The ground quakes.
There's definitely our camp room though. Bleed out. Trying to get through that prot. There's no way I can stun a second time. It's mathematically impossible. Fish for crit heals. Actually, I should have single healed. Backhand? Yeah. Nice. Alright, it's dead. Only took a little bit of damage that fight. Pretty good. It's dead anyway. So, again, if you're gonna camp in here, this is how you'd end this fight. Just stack all the bleed you can on it. I don't even have to use the camp skill to heal stress. Get to listen to the breeding.
Victory. Perhaps the turning.
Emeralds, good to bet on in longer dungeons. And then you can camp with the loot screen open. So that's what we're gonna do here.
Huddled together.
Like I said, it doesn't really matter, but we're just doing it that way.
Rats in a maze.
Alright. Ambush prevention. Don't need this really. I need to cure this disease. That's gone. And then Hyper Carry Hellion, the subject of the last video that I did for DD1. Right, talked about boss killers. But you can do this anyway. Prey's interesting, because everyone gets a little bit of prot that shaves off at least 1 damage. And Flagellant gets the 15 because he's a religious character. What do I do with the 2 then? At Pep Talk. Let's see. Yeah, why not? It's a vessel. She's usually like a big stress magnet. And then I think we'll pray. We have a lot of damage coming out of here. Bless was another good consideration.
The match is struck.
Alright, open this with Hellion.
Rising star is born.
Damage buff. Very important to know how curios work in the dungeons you're going to. So if you don't know them yet, definitely, if you feel like it, keep a wiki open. The fandom wiki, RIP Gamepedia wiki, is the best option for that. IMO. So like I was saying before, we're gonna say bleed out for the end. These also get mark synergy, and this thing marks, so we're gonna try and kill this first. It went before us. It's unfortunate.
A dizzying blow.
Stress cleaves that can crit. Never change Red Hook. We're trying to sell one of these. These things are pretty hard to stun normally, but having this giant stun chance from Hellion is actually, or the Crimson Court set's really good. I say Hellion. Thinking too much of Hellion. We're gonna set up to use Slice Off next turn. So we're gonna start weakening these two. For this one here. These resist. They are massive. Uh-oh. Nice. As I was saying before, right? You don't need dodge to be like 1,000 to get around stuff. So we're at, I had 57, I thought, for that turn. Wonder why. It was from something. Not sure. Yeah, so even then, right? We're pretty solid on dodging. Nice. One's dead. One's about to be dead. I think Flagellant's gonna clean it up, so I'm just gonna bleed out here. Got it. Now they're all dead. 2 turns. Maximum efficiency.
Their formation is broken. Maintain
Oops.
defensive.
Set the glass down kind of hard. Betting on emeralds.
Remind Remind yourself that overconfidence is
Um,
a slow and insidious killer.
Like I said, you could probably toss these torches still. I could just toss the food. Like I said, I don't really need anything. It doesn't matter. I do like to show off, you know, proper loot gathering and stuff, but I'm also not running a scout trinket on Vestal, which I usually do, so I feel a little bit weird about that. Backline's always usually like 99% of the time more dangerous. That's why we kill it first. We don't have ballad buff. Is that fight in the room? It must have been. No, I think it's in the hallway. Okay. Yeah, these two have to go down first. Specifically this. We're actually gonna Iron Swan it. That's that 10 crit coming into play. I should look at her stats. Oh, that's right, we get bonus crit against bleeding. That's sick. We'll double check it next turn. This is the best case scenario because he's not gonna bleed through this. There's no chance. His bleed resist like 185, 175, and I think these cap out at 160 at the crit. So that's fine. We're gonna stun this guy. Prevents more damage than healing does, and potentially stress if it crits us. It's always better to stun if you can. Harvest again? I think so. My goodness. Why is there so much harvest value in my game? I could have prepped this dude with the bleed too to get more Hellion damage from bleed out. Look at this. This is 48 crit because of a sharpened spear. So that means our Iron Swan was 54% chance to crit. My goodness. I think Vestal might be fast enough to clean this up. She got 12 speed. I'm gonna give it to Vestal.
Confidence surges as the enemy crumbles.
Nice. The Fabled Tempo Zap. She's got Scattering too. That was a lot of damage. She have Beast Satyr? She has Beast Slayer, I think. No! You ignored the Mark synergy! There, we got Bleed Res from this, I think. No, Deathblow Res. She has Beast Slayer. She had Scattering, but she still crit pretty hard. It's good. Stress heal. There's a consideration of Ballad too for the fight ahead. Alright. Crit heal. She's getting less because of her trinket. That's why that's happening. Again, I could snuff here. I could be snuffing after like every fight. It's weird that I'm so on top of it while streaming, or not streaming, while I'm recording this, but I'm not on top of it when I stream. Food's always a great healer. Never sleep on food healing. Alright, pretty good table. Scooting. 100% room battles. We didn't scout here, so we have to go check that just in case it's a fight. We're gonna leave that for the way back. Usually the reason to leave loot for the return trip is in case... It's like a 90% chance, I think. But the reason you leave loot for the way back is just because, you know, if you find a chance to snuff, you can do that. And then also, if you use, like, supplies going through the next rooms, then you'll have more inventory space when you come back. So if you have to return, just wait for the loot. It's not going anywhere. It's alright.
A time to perform beyond one's limits.
Does she... You have 2 stacks of Ballad? No. Why do I have 20 accuracy? Just 4 rounds. We're gonna kill this guy first. Butcher Pig is really annoying, and it can kind of disrupt us a bit more with the ball and chain that's gonna do. I don't think it can do Butcher Cut from here, so it's just gonna spam ball and chain. Might be able to Butcher Cut out of 3, but I know it can out of 4. So it's just one of those things where, since Darkest Dungeon's really a game about knowledge, the more you know about the enemies and the location, the better you're gonna do. So it does help to pay attention. I don't think this is a harvest turn yet. I think it is actually, just because I want to get bleed started on this, so when I start hitting bleed out, it's gonna die.
Masterfully executed.
13, I gotta find 9 damage. I think Hellion's got it. So I'm gonna switch over to this. We'll stun it with Vestal. We'll prevent the big hit here. Yeah. Lots of crits, which is a great stress healer. You notice, right? Like, just from the crits and the speed and stuff from Ballad, we are able to control the fight a lot more, and I don't have to stress heal. I think I pressed tune once this whole dungeon. Bleed out is good. Don't sleep on bleed out. Like, I don't have to press this here. I'm going to, though, just to do it. Doesn't really matter.
Inspiration and improvement.
Crit fish. You guys think I'm being funny or something like that, but honestly, when it works, you're gonna be like, wow, Chef's a genius. Wow. Amazing. Take the extra.
Nightmarish creatures can be felled. They can be
Holding onto that extra torch like it matters. I wonder if this last fight. This looks kind of empty down here, so there's only 3 more rooms that we have to worry about. Yeah. Got juice up here. It's a shame there's so many fights. You know, my buffs are running out pretty quick. So it's really good that this dude's much faster than Hellion. Actually, he's not. What the heck? I think she was still winded. Well, this should kill it.
annihilated.
Big old crit. Or stun with Vestal if we get a chance. Alright, no disease. We got rid of the wasting sickness. That's probably gonna stick though. Yeah. It feels like whenever it crits, the disease chance is 100. Yeah, that kind of sucks. Minus damage isn't that bad on him. Just because all of his damage is like bleed centric, and his on-hit damage isn't that good. It still sucks, don't get me wrong, but it's not the end of the world. Since this thing already did the big thing that we are worried about, I'm not going to stun it. I'm going to stun this thing. Because I'm pretty sure this is dying next turn because of Ballad, the speed up. We're going to get hooked here. We don't have any de-stealthing, but we do have a cleave, which can help. Cleave's being pretty versatile this time. This is a tough call. I wanted to start hitting bleed out because I was wondering if the other two could pick up the damage, and they could. They certainly could have, but just in case I got high rolled in speed or something like that, I didn't want to deal with it. Now we're going to see if we can double stun. We didn't get it. It was a good attempt, though. I think it was a 60% chance. Which is fantastic. Ball and chain. Like, that move is just designed to bully your Vestal. I swear to God, she has like a magnet on herself for that thing. 4 damage. If I hit this, that's 5, so that's 9. I can't do 3 damage. So I have to kill this with like Harvest or something. Or Slice Off. Which I will do. Very good. Bleed out. And then again, if we're going to do loot, we would snuff here. Because this thing is dead. And we have chest curio and 2 racks of blades to loot on the way through. Just find so much money. I'm sorry for all the players that you know, don't have like massively completed files at 400 weeks, so money's still an issue. Also, there's kind of a negative to snuffing and backtracking for a bunch of loot is sometimes the fight respawns. So in that case, if you wanted to risk it, you just pop 1 torch, just to make sure it's not Shambler, because he shows up at 0 light. And then you could do the fight and try and loot. We're gonna try and control Ghoul and kill this thing quickly. Yeah, we're gonna take a Butcher's Cut. It's kind of hard to give everything like a hard and fast rule in this game. Because, you know, I'm saying save bleed out for last, and here I pressed it on turn 1. But in this case, I don't value the damage penalty as much as taking a turn off the board as quick as I can. So that's why I did that. And I think we're gonna start prepping this dude for damage. I might kill him this though. It's gonna have 1 HP, so I think Vestal has to tap it. Just fine. Bleed res down. Slice off. If it bleeds. It's not bad to overkill in this game. But if you can help overkilling, you want to overkill by as little as possible. But philosophically, you do want the enemy to die. Love all these bleeds that just aren't going to stick to this character. It's great. What's the debuff? Stress? Jeez. Like, I could tap it here, but I'm really confident in this team's ability to just crit off all the stress they're going to get. Dead. Yeah, we'll do this. Nothing really to crit fish on here. Then we get Vessel to heal. Feels really fun to be doing this series again. I love over-explaining stuff.
Has no intrinsic merit, unless inordinate exsanguination be considered a virtue.
Usually I pick medium missions for these videos too, just because you get to see more stuff. You know, more enemy mashes, more potentially dangerous situations, you know? Like get high rolled in a couple fights and have to camp, and there's a lot more strategy going on. That's why I picked that. And for this last set of rooms, we're gonna go down like this and just circle through. Actually, let's see what we get. Don't have to do that. Thank you, scouting. All right, we'll probably take this last fight too. And then we'll end it that way.
Packs laden with loot are often low on supplies.
I'm debating if I want to snuff for this just to show you why Jestal kind of struggles against this. If you haven't picked up on it by now, Jestal's the nickname for this pair because it's Vestal and Jester together. Sounds better than Vester, but we call it Jestal. Kill that thing first. Mark synergy, that's why. Stun one of these, it doesn't really matter. And then, yeah, just snowball this. Usually you don't want to kill the stun target right away, because that's kind of a waste of stun. But this way, it's gonna have the stun resist next turn, so when it has the stun resist, I'm gonna kill it, and then it's not gonna ever have a turn. Harvest value, my goodness, dude. I pressed harvest more times than slice off. That's nuts. We're gonna stun this one, and this will be a pretty good fight. Did I take damage? Did I dodge twice? That's amazing. It's dead. They're all dead this turn. Dude, this team cleans up so fast.
A trifling victory, but a victory nonetheless.
I'm not gonna snuff out here. I'm hoping for a Skyver. Shame. Skyver would have been a really good test for this team. Skyver's the elite enemy. We still have Ballad for another turn, so I'm not going to recast it. I can cast it next turn. Yeah, usually cleaves aren't the best things to be pressing, but I don't know, it's just getting a lot of value this time. I bit my tongue. I've been having that problem a lot lately. Maybe I'm talking too fast. Biting my tongue, biting my lip. With the Ballad boost, just for the crit at this point. There you go. It's dead. Maybe I should have healed with Jester. If I counted that turn out, I could have stress healed with Jester, and we would have left it full HP, no stress. That would have been such a flex. He's trying. It's -3.
Their cursed champion falls.
Full stack of emeralds.
This expedition at least promises success.
Alright. Not that really matters.
Terrors may indeed stalk these
Alright.
shadows, but yonder,
So that was the team. I hope you enjoyed it. Bleed-centric damage, big bleed damage too. You can run this team at, you know, Apprentice and stuff like that too, so don't feel like you need the high level and the trinkets and stuff. That was really just a show off. But like Warrior's Cap on your damage dealers, just for the extra accuracy, you can get the job done. Bleed amulets are amazing on all 3 of these characters. Slow draw. No, Beast Slayer. Can I have my quirks back? Oh well.
in time,
Let Wayne talk here before I head on out.
extent of my failings.
So yeah, that was the video. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you learned something. If not with this team, maybe just some team building ideas, because that's the whole purpose of this. So let me know what you're thinking below in the comments. Join Discord if you want to. Check out the links in the box, like Discord, Twitter, Twitch, Patreon, all that stuff. I plugged Discord twice. Yeah. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.